You use the term summoning and switchboarding, which I find really intriguing in this. Do you mind sharing with our
Sure,
listeners what you mean
sure.
by that, summoning and switchboarding?
When you say who wants to be a leader, um, on balance, or who wants this next big leadership assignment, on balance, sometimes you'll find in different organizations, there are categories of folks who say, it's not for me. I don't look like the person who had that job the last 3 times. I didn't come from the background of the person who had that job the last 3 times. So an important part of being a leader sometimes is to summon people, not just it's not open out call. It's to go check someone out and say, hey, you know, why haven't you put your hand up for this leadership development program? Why haven't you, um, you know, because you can see that they're great, but there is that, and often there's a couple of things. People are often uncomfortable sometimes with, will my style work? And I'm like, that's hasn't hurt you yet. And we all grow and change as leaders, but I think, a really important work of the leader is to create interest and summon people to the work of leadership. And when I talk about switchboarding, the logic there is leadership development, um, uh, an important, at least for me, being a developer of leaders, back to humility. Um, uh, and so you spend a lot of time in developing leaders, not so much saying, let me teach you this, you get your pen out because I'm about to talk at you, but instead saying, okay, I think that's an important area for you to grow and develop. Totally hear you. I don't know a darn thing about it. Like, or I'm not that good at it. Let me find the person who you need to learn from on that issue. You're trying to keep, as part of, um, people all say you should have a personal board of directors, and I agree with that. And part of the reason you should have something like that is, if that group gets broad enough, you start to be able to say, well, this is the person who teaches, this is the person I know who teaches this thing best. There's a great book called The Council of Dads, which our mutual friend Max Steyer features. There's a chapter about Max, and it's what's interesting is it was written by a friend of Max's who was told he had a terminal disease and had to confront the fact that his kids might not have a dad, and sort of said, how do I, he's going to do the dad work. And came to that conclusion that actually, he had a number of good friends, each of one who had something really important to teach. And it would, rather than trying to replace, um, uh, him with one person, he sort of tapped each of the friends to teach that important thing. And in some sense, that's a good metaphor for how, as a leader, ought to think about developing their team, is the council of developers, if you will.